paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted. And let me tell you, this guest kind of had me trying to figure out how I wanted to do it at the beginning. First, Missouri boy, right? So naturally, I was going to wear my St. Louis shirt with the Ouija board, the planchette on the front, and all of that. But then I found out he also worked at the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. So I went ahead and got, let's see, was it this side? Yeah. Well, I got the shirt with the Allegheny emblem on it that I got here, I guess about a year ago, a little over a year ago. Anyway, so I've decided to honor him that way. I got to tell you, though, Greg was apparently raised, I guess, in Ozark, Missouri, if I understood correctly. So he's a Missouri boy, and he had some experiences down there. And, of course, being from Missouri as I am, we're not afraid, but you got to show me. So he got into investigating the paranormal from there. He's a guide, currently has been before, quit for a while and come back. He's a guide at the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum down in West Virginia, which, guys, I've had so many guests from West Virginia, more than North Carolina by far. That state's just weird, man. He's investigated the Moundsville Penitentiary down there. He's investigated, Pythian Castle down in Springfield, Missouri. He's also got the old Scott County Jail in his repertoire, and the Eaton Tunnel, and a whole bunch more. He's been all over the place. He's been featured on Ghost Adventurers Aftershocks, excuse me, Paranormal Challenge, and several other shows. So the guy's got a very extensive, very knowledgeable history behind him. So let's bring in, his name is Greg Graham, but we're going to call him Copperhead. All right.
How you doing?
Where did you get the name Copperhead? I got to know. Was that a Missouri thing?
Yeah, it was. I do pre-1840 mountain man rendezvous, French and Indian War, Revolutionary War, time period stuff. And at my very first reenactment or rendezvous, my hair was a lot redder than it is now. And one of the guys made a Copperhead snakeskin hat band.
Uh-huh.
And they told me, since it was my first one and I was a pilgrim, I had to wear that to let everybody know I was a pilgrim. So I wore that thing all weekend, and that's how I ended up with the name.
Got it. You've carried that through your ghost hunting times then.
Yeah, that's what everybody knows me by. So,
well, tell me, if you can, give us an idea of what happened to you down in Ozark, Missouri, that caused you to turn this way.
Well, I always knew that I could feel stuff, that something was around, but I didn't really know what. And I actually was living in Nixa.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, my next door neighbor, he wanted me to come over and look at a floor to help him replace it in his bathroom. So we're there, and he also does the rendezvous, and his wife makes clothes. And I asked him, I said, is your wife here? He said, no. I said, you're sure? He said, yeah. And we got talking, and we're looking at this, and I caught something out of the corner of my eye go by his bathroom door. And he'd told me before that his house was haunted. And again, Missouri boy, show me.
Right.
And I caught something going by the bathroom, and I turned and looked, and I said, "Are you sure she's not here?" He says, "I'm positive." And she made dresses, the 1800 style dresses with the aprons and the mop caps and all that. And there was a lady about her size walked by and had on a mop cap, dark hair, dark blue dress, apron. I'll never forget it. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, bull." And I stepped out in the hallway and looked, and she was from the knees up at the end of the hallway. She wasn't touching the floor.
Okay.
And I'm standing there, and I know my eyes must have been that big around. And he yelled out, he said, "You see her?" And he come and put his head just at the door jamb. And when his head crossed the door jamb, she disappeared.
Did not want to be seen by him.
No, I'm the only man that has ever seen her. It's been kids and the older women have seen her. No men. I'm the only man that's ever seen her.
Okay.
And to me, I'm like, why me? You know. And then that got the wheels turning, and I got into the paranormal and trying to figure out, you know. And my wife tells me, she says I'm more in tune than anyone she knows, because I can be I can be walking around in town or whatever, and it's like, and I'll turn and look, you know. And she's like, "What are you looking at?" I said, "Well, I just felt something." And that's the same way. I mean, all the investigations and stuff I do, I go by a lot of intuition. And my main thing, I use dowsing rods.
That's my main tool, yes.
And an audio recorder. That's my main deal. And I used to take a lot of pictures. I used to video. I used to do all this stuff. And then I got away from it, and I'm going to start back up. But I had a lady follow me one night at the asylum. She sent me a CD. And that night, she followed me, and out of all the sessions I did, she sent me a CD with 150 EVPs.
Wow!
From that night, and it was a wild. I mean, it was a very active night. And then on top of that, like I said, I use the dowsing rods, and I try to warn people: you don't understand. You are the conduit. They're using your energy.
Yes.
And when you overdo it, the next day it feels like you've been on a bender. Because, yeah, I get, paranormal hangover. It's real, you know.
Yes. Oh, pardon me. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm a glutton for punishment because I keep bringing them back out.
Well, they're a good tool. You know, other people can pick them up and get nothing. You can pick them up and do everything. Some folks can take pictures and get spirits often, whereas I've never caught one. Nothing but dust orbs. Some people get EVPs and can't do anything with rods or anything else. So I don't know what it is, but
did you watch when Josh Gates came to the asylum?
No, I've not watched. After Ghost Hunters, I kind of gave up on it. I saw some things there that just couldn't be real, and I gave up watching any of those.
I understand, and a lot of, how do I put this politely? Entertainment purposes. Yes.
As you well know, and so do most of these people, it takes us months to get the kind of evidence they get every episode. That just cannot be right.
Well, what's funny, when I first started at the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, the guides that were working there at the time, there were several that would not walk through the building with me. And I'm like, what? I had to go lock up one night.
Yeah.
And I said, they asked me if I'd go down and lock up. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go do it. And I looked over at one of the guys and I said, hey, come on. He's like, no. I'm like, what? I had to go down to lobotomy recovery and lock all that area there.
Right.
And go up, then go up top, lock all of that, and then come back out, lock another door, and then come back out to the center section. And the long hallway up above lobotomy recovery, it sucks. If I don't have to walk it by myself, I won't. But if I do, I will. But yeah, they mess with me. And I told him, I said, come on, let's go. He says, no. I said, why not? He said, you're a magnet. He said, I'm not going with you. I said, that's what he said. I said, that's what we're here for. He's like, not your type.
Now, when I interviewed Brandy from Trans Allegheny a couple of years ago, she said she was the magnet. The ghost would follow her around and would act, I don't want to say act out, but would let their presence be known for her.
Oh yeah, they do. They mess with all the guides. If you are by yourself, and like I've been back almost 2 years, and in that 2 years, it's taken me a while to get reacquainted with the building. Because when I came back, I know my energy had changed. And so with that, I feel that they didn't recognize me.
Okay.
Now, some of them did. I've got one that he's my bud. And with him, as soon as I turned the corner in that ward for the first time, it was like I felt the, how do I put it, happy.
Okay.
And I looked down at the end of the ward and I could see his figure standing in the window.
Okay.
At the end of the ward. And I said, I'll be down there in just a minute, bub. And I walked down and went behind there, and I didn't have my rods or anything. And he won't tell me his name. He won't tell me a whole lot. But I found him by accident because they always told me, don't go back there. And most of the guides will not go back there. I'm the only one that can go back there, do a session, get a lot of good stuff, and head out. But it's all dowsing rod. He will not. I can't get EVPs back there. I can't get. He doesn't like people.
Okay.
And he doesn't want people back there.
But he likes you.
Yeah. And it was it was kind of dumb the way I come across him. I had one in the Civil War section that, oh man, that one and me had a hate relationship. And I didn't tell anybody about him for a long time. I keep stuff to myself in certain places. And that way, if you get people that say they're sensitive and they can tell you, I use my stuff to my advantage, and I take them in there and I test them.
Right.
Well, I had a guy that came in and he said his whole group was sensitives. And it was me and Miss Sue. And Miss Sue has since passed away. She was actually a nurse during the operation of the hospital.
Okay.
And she worked there. And then she became a historical guide. And then she started doing paranormal a little bit. And she took me on my first tour. But anyway, we're down there and the guy's telling me this, and I said, okay. I said, go over that corner over there. He went over there and stood for a long time. He's kind of rocking back and forth. And I said, well, he said, give me a second. And he sat there, and then he turned and looked at me. And now this was crazy. He said, he's a sergeant in the he was a sergeant in the Civil War. He said, I can't tell. And he said, he thinks you're the reason he's here. He said, he hates you. Well, I already knew that. I already knew that part.
Mm-hmm.
And I already knew, I called him Sarge because I already got that he was a sergeant. And I didn't know north or south or what, but I found a bunch of stuff out. And then this guy's telling me everything back. I'm like, okay, maybe this guy is for real, you know?
Uh-huh.
And again, the Missouri part of me, show me.
Right.
And so me and him walk out, and Sue and another person from his group was walking in, but we didn't pass. There's a wall. You got the hallway on the right side and then the rooms on the left side. Well, we went through the rooms and she was going through the hallway. So they never talked. They never, nothing. Sue said that the lady went in there and looked straight at that corner. Now, I hadn't told Sue about Sarge.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew about Sarge. And the lady's looking at it at the corner. She says, what's up with that corner? Sue says, I don't know. So she went to check it out. And Sue said that woman was standing over there and she started rocking like this and was clawing at her face and doing all this. And I'm like, and Sue said, I was getting ready to call you. She said, I thought she lost her mind. And she said, all of a sudden she snaps out of it and looks at her and she says, you tell that long-haired guy to stay out of here. He's going to kill him.
Oh, okay.
And so now you got those two things together. Now, I got an EVP one night. He called my name. He said, he called me Copperhead. I heard it with my ears.
Wow.
And I actually caught it on audio. And I had a guy with me. And on my audio clip, I say, oh my God. He said, what? I said, did you hear that? He said, no. I said, somebody said Copperhead. And he says, well, who's that? I said, dude, that's me. And I went over to the corner and I said, you know my name. Tell me yours. And my EVP says, you know me. And the guy that was telling me about more stuff, Sarge actually died of dementia.
Okay.
And that guy told me, he said, you will never get him to think you're not the one. Well, later on that night, me and Sue were stationed on one foreign Civil War. So I had to go back down to the cafeteria, and I'm standing in the cafeteria and I got a guy on either side of me. My hair was longer then. And you know what it feels like when somebody takes an air nozzle and blasts you in the face? Okay, my hair's hanging like this, and I felt the blast of air. It went up like this, hit the two guys on either side of me, and they turned and looked. And when they turned and looked, I grabbed my stomach and bent over. I got punched, just like sucker punched right in the stomach. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't talk. And it felt like electricity went through my body, but I'm chalking that up to adrenaline is what I'm thinking, you know? But anyway, they took me out of the room and we're in another room, and it took me like 10 minutes to get where I could talk. I was gasping for air. I'd never been hit like that before, you know? And I sit there and finally I could talk, and I told them, I said, all right, get everybody out of there. They're like, what? I said, get everyone out, take them to Ward 4, take them to Ward 1, get them out of here. They're like, what's going on? I said, me and him going to have a talk.
Right.
And I went back in and shut the door where nobody could hear what I said. And I cut loose. I said, you don't touch me. I don't touch you. And on and on and on. But yeah, he didn't listen. I got scratched a lot and all kinds of stuff down there. But I never did get punched again.
Yeah, that's something then.
And, but I don't provoke. I mean, maybe I was, I keep going down there. But I didn't see that as provoking because I was trying to be respectful.
And you've got to stand your ground to a bully. That's just the way it is.
And he, like when I go anywhere, I treat him just like me and you sitting here talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't start off like, oh, how'd you die? How'd you, you know? No, yeah. I don't ask that. I never ask that. And I just talk. I said, what year is it? You know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, I've had some pretty crazy stuff in that building. And
Sounds like it.
And in several other locations. But now the crazy thing about Sarge, I knew the stuff that this guy told me. I knew the stuff that other lady told me, and I knew what I had found out. And they put a what did they call it? The cemetery room. They put a cemetery room in there. There's some of the headstones and stuff that got knocked out over the hill, and we don't know where they go.
Okay.
And so they had some of those in there. And I was walking through, and I'd never been in the cemetery room. And I was feeling like I was being drawn to that room. And I'm like, okay. So I walked in, looked up on the wall, and I start reading. Jasper Wyatt, the 6th Virginia Infantry Sergeant.
Okay. 6th Virginia, so that'd be Confederate.
Uh-huh. And it was funny because all the stuff that guy told me, he died of dementia. Everything was right there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Sarge. I mean, it just clicked. And it was like I was being pulled into that room for that reason. And I went back down there. And I went down and I called him out. Which that was not smart.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, I went down and I said, Sergeant Jasper Wyatt, front and center. That was stupid. I didn't think about it when I did it, but I wanted his attention. Oh, right. I got it.
So what happened?
I got a severe headache. I got sick to my stomach, thought I was going to throw up, and it felt like he was just like right here and all over me. And so it ended up, and then after I left and came back, I was walking the building, and it's my first walkthrough. And I got down there, and I walked into the cafeteria, and I'm looking around like, this isn't right. This don't feel right. And I said, Sarge, it's Copperhead. No. What is going on? Because I know I was going to get it. Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Well, then I found out that they did a full honors service at his graveside.
Okay.
And I think that put him at peace.
So you haven't had any problems with him since then?
I haven't found him since then. And I've asked for him a couple of times just to see. And now I don't. I mean, I don't. But it was interesting. And there was one night my son had a group. He was a guide for a while, and my son had a group, and I was managing at the time. And he had 2 groups inside his group, and the 2 groups didn't like each other. And he had awesome, you get that on Publix. I mean, you get people, they clash. So you just try to do the best you can. Well, he messaged me and he said, hey, he said, can you go get the other part of my group and bring them to the kitchen? He said, dude, he said, it's off charts in here. I'm like, okay. So I found them and I said, Andrew said they got some really good stuff going. Let's go down and check it out. And he did. He had a lot of good, he was asking him to turn off and on the flashlight. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, and then K2 hits, all kinds of stuff. And they were going real good. Well, I had just got a new Tascam audio recorder, and I was listening real time. I went ahead and put headphones in. So I'm sitting there listening real time and seeing if I could hear anything. Well, it was time to go, and it was like 4:45, so everybody start moseying out to go home. And Andrew was putting his stuff up, and I stepped back to the back, very back room, and I had my audio recorder like this through the door jamb right there. Right. And I said, well, I hope you spoke into my little red light I've got in my hand. Dude, this scream started up, and it sounded, you ever heard a hog when they're really mad?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it sounded like, the scream. And then right in front of me, this shadow figure comes up out of the floor at the end of my hand, screaming. And it's right in front of me.
Right.
And Andrew's right here beside me, looking in catty corner. And I said a few things and went backwards.
I can see that, sure.
And Andrew turned my EVP into R-rated because he said, "What the?"
Yeah.
And this thing comes up, and I mean, yeah. And I still swear that was Sarge. And
that was after he was buried?
No, that was before.
Oh, okay.
Before. And that was before I left for my little hiatus. But yeah, I mean, and see, people, you could hear the group running away. And I told Andrew, I said,
gotta go catch him, right?
I said, pack it up. And he says, I am. And man, he's throwing stuff in his bag, and he didn't even try to put it in nice. He just throwed it all in, picked it up, and I said, you go first. And then I was backing up and backing out of there. Well, I don't know what good that really did. That made me feel better, I guess. You know what I mean? Because what are you going to do? And anyhow, that was one of that one got me. I mean, that one made me jump and second guess a whole lot of stuff.
Is that when you gave it up for a few years, or is that?
No.
Okay.
It was later. But
all
see,
right.
I was in there almost every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did daytime tours also. So some nights I would be on the overnight and then sleep in my van, then get up, go in, brush my teeth, comb my hair, wash my face, and go till the daytime tours were over. And I got burned out.
Copperhead, would you hold on for a little bit? I'm going to have to step away for the commercial break, and then we'll get right back with you.
Okay.
Love talking to Missouri people because it's the same thing. I had to see it. I've got to do it. Then when it happens to you, it's a story. Let me tell you, and that was awesome. All right, friends, there's a few other things I need to show you, and it's nothing going to scare you quite that bad. But check this out. We'll be right back.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unxmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unxmedia.com or amazon.com. The Unex Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unex Network website at unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com.
All right, friends, you know, at the end of the show tonight, we'll talk more about the Unex Network and all the great reasons you should join up. But right now, I want to get back to Copperhead because I'm really digging the stories he's got. So after, other than the Allegheny, you've been in Moundsville. Anything going on there?
Yeah. When I'd never been to Moundsville before.
Yeah, I haven't yet either, so this is all new.
When we did Paranormal Challenge, in all honesty, I did the show for the simple fact I've never seen how a TV show was filmed.
Okay. And
that interested me just as much as the paranormal stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's one reason. That was one of my big reasons I did it. And when we were in there, they had we couldn't use our own equipment. Excuse me.
Okay.
We couldn't use our own equipment. We had to use what they provided. So I didn't have my dowsing rods. And I had messed with the millimeter with the EMF on it before.
Sure.
So Daniel had to do his solo, and he was down in the Sugar Shack. And Mandy and I went up to the psych ward. And it was so funny. We're going up the stairs to go to the psych ward, and they don't film that part. We're going up the stairs, and I get about 3/4 of the way up the stairs to the psych ward. And I turned and I looked at the cameraman and the sound guy, and I said, "I'm home." And they started, and they're like, what's it mean? What's it mean he's home? This is creepy. And Mandy was dying laughing. She turned around, she says, "You boys don't know where he works, do you?" They said, "No." She said, "Trans-Allegheny." She said, "The psych ward's going to get interesting." And we went up, and when I walked in, and it is so difficult to do an investigation when you've got a sound guy and a camera guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're moving the cables and all. Oh my gosh, I was so tired of that. But when I walked in there, they'd slid the cables, and when the cables stopped, I heard like foot scooting, like footsteps, but they were scooting.
Okay.
And the mail went off a little bit. And I said, oh. And then I started getting that feeling. So I I keep calling it K2, the mail down. And I said, okay, I know you're here. I heard you walking around. I said, if you'd like to talk with us, can you touch that silver stick sticking out of that box right there? And it'll light up the lights. It did. Well, then I went from there. I did like, I asked for the first letter of his name, and I went through the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
Got the first letter. And then I said, okay, we're going to go for the second letter. And I only did vowels. And I did the A, E, I, O. And when I hit O, it lit up. And I said, okay, M-O. And I started to go again, and it wouldn't do anything. I said, so your name's Mo? And man, that thing lit up.
Yeah.
And I still, when I go back up to Moundsville, I'll go up to the psych ward and I'll say, hey, Mo, I brought you a cigarette. I brought you some candy. I brought, and I get stuff going immediately. And Lori O'Neill is the one that she was running a lot of it.
Okay.
I don't know if she'll be back. She had some health problems, and I'm not sure. She's doing great. But I don't know if she'll be back up there or not. I haven't gotten to talk to her in a little bit. I might have to give her a call. But she's my bud. I mean, from day one when we were doing the filming all the way through, I've been to Moundsville, oh Lord, 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
And I love it. I mean, Red Snyder's cell, I was sitting in there one night, and one of the Moundsville guides was out there and hollering and carrying on. And I won't say exactly what he said about Red, but I had an audio recorder running, had my K2 in there, and I was sitting on Red's bed, and in my left ear, when he said, are you such and such? And he said, no. Right in my ear. And I'm
right.
like, I jumped up. I'm like, holy crap. I said, did you hear that? He says, yeah, man, listen to all the banging. And all the way up the tier in there, you could hear the cells rattling and like they were hitting stuff and everything. He had them wound up. Wow. And I said, no. I said, you missed it. I said, Red just said no in my ear very loud. And he says, you run audio? I said, yep. We played it back. Not there.
Of course.
Not there. And I love Moundsville. I love it. And then we went to, I went with Bedford Paranormal to Old Scott County Jail. We did that that night. It's just a little dinky jail, but it's got activity like crazy.
Yeah, I know one of the girls who run it has been, actually both of them have been on the show.
Miranda, I love Miranda to death. She's a riot.
Oh, she's a sweetheart, yeah.
I do Enigma cons in St. Albans and in Radford, Virginia. And she's there all the time too. And so, yeah, we've known each other a while. And, but we were in there, we had shadow figures, we had all kinds of stuff going on. Then the next night we did historical rugby, and it's an 1800s town that the English decided they were going to come back and they were going to set up a town and start a colony there. Okay. Well, they built all this stuff. The guy never lived in the house that they built for him. But anyway, we were there and we're doing the tour, and Miranda takes us out, takes us to the library. Now the library has all first print books. I mean, they're all originals in there. And they told us don't touch the green ones. And I'm like, what? Why wouldn't you touch the green ones?
Yeah.
The green books, they made the dye with arsenic.
Oh, okay.
So you don't touch the books because you will get sick. So we're in there, and Miranda's telling us a bunch of stuff. And one of my good friends, Angie, she was in there, and she says, I could just sit here and read books and books and books. She said, I just love to sit and read. And I said, me being me, I'm just being a smart aleck. And I said, I'll wait for the movie. I hate books. And I walked over to there's a picture of the library in there. And I went to take a picture of that picture.
Mm-hmm.
My back, as soon as I took that picture, my back started burning. And I'm like, oh man. And I said, I don't know what's going on. My back hurts, And we went outside, and finally I looked at Ronnie and I said, see about my back. And I lifted my shirt up. I had a scratch. I had 2 scratches all the way across my back.
Wow.
And Ronnie, I've got the pictures of it. And Miranda, she said, leave it to you. Leave it to you. The first person to get scratched in the library on tour is you. And I said, I just have that knack, I guess, But if you ever get a chance to go to the old Scott County Jail or Rugby after dark, oh my gosh, it was awesome. We were in, I forget what house it is, but we were in this house, and we put the mail meter. Ronnie's got a mail with the EMF on it, and we had it pointed toward the stairs. Well, the front door's right here. Well, let me see, right here. So we're in there trying to get something going. Nothing's going on. And Ronnie went to the bathroom, and I'm sitting in the kitchen. Well, I hear the mail meter going crazy. And I said, are you in there? Ronnie says, no, I'm back here in the bathroom. And I'm like, okay. So we sit there. Well, we went to pick up equipment. We went in there. The mail was pointed like this. But then when we went in there to pick it up, it was pointed to the front door.
Okay.
We didn't touch it. We did not touch it. And of course, no camera on it whatsoever. So just another story.
Right.
I do have stuff that I've caught. And the one thing, I had a body camera.
Okay.
I bought it off of Amazon. Some other friends of mine use them. So I bought one. Love it. I took it to the asylum. Tried to use it in there. Nothing would happen. As soon as I shut it off, it'd start. And I forget what room I was in. I think it was Frank and Larry's. I went in and I reached up and I kicked it on. And got a little bit of stuff, and then it quit. I said, okay, I'm recording, don't you? And I heard this pop. And I looked down and my camera is off. And I'm like, okay, I'll put it up. And I took it off and I put it up. It no longer will, my computer doesn't recognize it. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Wow.
It won't record. It won't do anything. And it's, of course, past the time to send it back. And it says that it has the SD card needs reformatted.
Okay.
Format the SD card. The camera doesn't have an SD card.
Wow, that's weird.
So yeah, I'm going to try to get in touch with the company and see, what I can do about it.
Right.
But it wasn't that expensive. It was like 70. I think I paid $75 or $78 for it. I caught it on sale. And but yeah, they killed it. And I know of 2 other cameras that died in there. And if they don't want it, you're not going to get it.
They won't. They don't fooling around. Why is West Virginia that's got so much going for it? I can't remember the name, but there's the ship that it's sitting, I think it might still be in a river. I don't know. But it was used during World War II as a troop hospital ship. And it's very, very haunted. West Virginia has, gosh, so much. That fairgrounds.
Yeah, Lake Shawnee.
Lake Shawnee.
I've not got there yet.
The haunted, the Blennerhassett Hotel. I was there. Why are they so paranormally active?
I look at it several different reasons. That you had all the native, the Shawnee were here and used it for hunting grounds. Well, then people started moving here and they didn't want them here. And you had, I forget what all tribes came here to hunt. And so I think that has a little bit to do with it. Plus, you've got all the water, the limestone, the sandstone, the different stone, the stuff that can hold energy. Like I'm trying to think, the old hospital on College Hill.
Yes, I've interviewed her too.
I love that place. I had a blast down there.
Okay.
We got a lot of activity that night, but like I said, I just think it's the structure of the ground, the stones, and then all your water. You know, I think that keeps the energy.
That makes sense. Okay.
Because like the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, it's the second largest hand-cut stone building in the world. And it's blue sandstone. So there's a lot of quartz and stuff in that too. And of course, quartz holds energy.
Plus, if I remember right, there's a stream or a river that goes really close by that. Isn't there?
The West Fork's right in front of it. So, you know.
Okay.
It's there's a lot. And some of the stone came from the river. A lot of the stone came from a little town that's not too far from me. Mount Clair. There we go.
Okay.
Mount Clair, they had a quarry that they were moving the stone and stuff down there to it. So, and like I said, that's Mount Clair's just over the hill from me.
Okay.
I live in a little town, West Milford, and I'm like 20 minutes from the asylum. And there was a fort here that George Rogers Clark, and he's one of my heroes. George Rogers Clark, Clarksburg's named after him, if I'm not mistaken. And then there was a fort that was here in West Milford that he hung out at.
Okay.
And this is kind of wild. I was out on the back porch. It was winter, real heavy frost. And I'm out on the back porch letting the dog out or something. I can't remember. And I looked up and I see somebody walking behind my neighbor's house up here.
Okay.
And I'm like, what? So I put the dog up, told my wife, and then I walked over there. Well, that neighbor was in his truck. And I said, were you out back? He said, no. I said, somebody was. We walked around there. The frost wasn't disturbed. There were no tracks going through the frost.
Right.
And that just hit me because right over the hill from my house is where the fort was. So was it somebody walking to the fort that night? You know, residual energy or something. So, I mean, there's a lot here. I mean, there really is.
There is. And there's the Mothman. There's the, I can't remember what it's called now, but it was the alien that crashed or whatever.
The Flatwoods
monster. That's it. Yes.
Yep.
And again, Blennerhassett, the boat, I can never remember its name.
Can't
So
either.
much going on down there. I was in a town, and I can't remember now the name of that town, but it's very haunted. And apparently the whole town around the Blennerhassett Hotel is very haunted. So there's so much going on down there. A lot of people blame the cornstalk curse, but that don't seem to cover it for the whole state.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so.
No, man, that would be one hell of a curse right there.
Yeah,
One that
yeah, definitely.
honors state lines. So that doesn't make sense. So
The
go ahead.
Clarksburg's got some places. There's a couple of places I'm trying to get in up there, and I will be the first person to investigate them. And I want to do this really bad. I'm still working on them, trying to get in. So
if you get any good evidence, please let me know. We'll get you back on here.
that sounds good. That definitely sounds good.
Greg Graham with Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, or Copperhead, as you prefer. When's the best time for people to go to the asylum? Brandy said it's all year long.
Yeah, we don't shut down for paranormal the nighttime.
And she said the ghosts
daytime,
are active all year long.
Yeah, in the back buildings. I mean, we do the geriatric forensics and, CI, criminally insane is what they call it now. I'm used to calling it forensics. But the CI, geriatrics, and the medical building.
Okay.
And geriatrics, I never hardly got anything in when I was there before. Now, oh my gosh, it's off the chart.
Wow.
I have a blast in there every time I go now. And
when I
people can't believe.
Yeah.
People can't believe that I'll sit. My groups will go up to the third and fourth.
Mm-hmm.
I stay on the second floor, and I'll sit back down there by myself. And I just got a new music box. I've got to get some videos put up on YouTube.
Yeah.
For my channel there. But I got this new music box that was built for me by Zach Stevens, and he's a guide at the asylum, and he's a genius. I mean, he's a genius when it comes to this. But he made me a music box that plays Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Okay.
And it's motion activated. And he didn't use regular motion sensors. He used a microwave sensor of some sort.
Okay.
And I can put it to 1 to 3 inches. I can put it to a foot to 2 foot. I can go 6 foot, and then I think 12 foot.
Wow.
Radius on it. And I always turn it down where they got to get close.
Mm-hmm.
And then I move my feet and stuff to make sure it's not me, or move my arms and everything. I've got a video I did last weekend in Jane's room on the second floor, and the music box hits boom, 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 boom after my questions. There's a couple of them she lags a little bit, but most of the time she's hitting right then.
Okay.
And I showed it to Zach last night. He was the one that came over last night, and he's like, "Oh man, this is so sweet." And I told him, he's working tomorrow night, and then I'm working Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got guys coming tomorrow night that wanted me to come down. So I'm going to go down for a little bit tomorrow night. And then Saturday night, Zach's coming down. And he's going to hang out with me in geriatrics with the music box.
Mm-hmm.
So I can show him. And, oh, man.
I hope he gets a video of this.
Oh, I do. I video it. And now I've learned my camera and my phone better.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured out how I can zoom in on it. And then I set it real still. And now I just ordered it. I got a new tripod for my phone. And it's got the face tracking and all that. But I'm going to shut that part off and just set it aimed at the music box. And
perfect.
But I got some awesome videos that I need to get. Like I said, I need to get busy and get editing and get this stuff put out there.
Well, let me know when you've got them, because I want to get you back on here. What is your YouTube channel?
My YouTube is at Copperhead GH.
Copperhead GH.
Yep.
So folks can go there and see some of your videos. Then. All right.
And I've got a lot of EVPs, but they're from back several years back. Mm-hmm. Then I've got some new videos up from the Camden Hotel and Opera House and the United Bank. It was all one big thing, and it's right here in Weston also. Okay. But I got lucky enough to investigate it a couple of times. And then I've got another video where one of the guys hears something. Mm-hmm. And I actually got two. One of them I asked, I said, "Did you say something in this red light?" And it says, "Nope." And it was a man's voice. Well, then when we were out in the hallway and I asked it, "Are you a man? Are you a woman?" And all this stuff, trying to get stuff going, because we don't know anything about it. And I got the nope. And then we're out in the hallway and you hear, Brad thought he heard voices.
Okay.
And so we stop and listen. And it says, "Men or women." And so it was mocking me, I think.
Right.
And then I got another real short clip, and I had my body camera on when it worked, and I was turning, and as I was turning, it looks down the third floor, and that was hotel rooms. Mm-hmm. And you see a black figure on the side of the wall, and then it comes out off the wall just a little bit. And then it looks like a black door hanging in the middle of the hallway.
Wow.
With light coming all around it. And then it's gone. Because I turned this fast. So mm-hmm. I had to slow the video way down and to slow-mo so you could see it. And everybody that I've shown it to is like, "Dude, that's a portal."
Yeah. Sounds
and my daughter was helping us investigate that night, and she was up there on the third floor, and she went through where that was at and got scratched.
So there is something there. And Copperhead, I have got to go, man. I wish I could hear more of your stories, but I'm right down to the wire. So
all right,
take care.
We'll have to get back together again.
We will do it. If you get some of that video you're talking about, and get it sent to me when we plan a date.
Oh yeah.
We'll get you back, because I love your stories. Maybe in October if you're available.
October, it'll have to be during the week.
Well, we can always shoot it early September too. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon. And hey, hang loose for just a minute till I get done here, would you?
Okay. Yep. No problem.
I couldn't stop, guys. I know I'm running late. I'm supposed to talk about the Onyx Network. Join it, onyxnetwork.com. That's what you get. Because I had to hear these stories. Aren't they awesome? So you guys, you know the routine. I don't know what the temperature's like there. It's very hot here. Stay hydrated, stay cool. And I think more than anything else, I want you all to stay spooked. See ya.